Test. There we go. We're live at East Central High School. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In case you haven't met me, I'm Dr. Terry Friends. I've been playing the role of band director this semester for these wonderful children, and this will be our spring concert. Please welcome, enjoy it. We have several things to share with you. We're going to get started with first our trombone choir under the direction of Dr. Russ Zokaitis. Now, as you read down a musical score, it's written the highest parts, like the flute and piccolo part, down to the lowest parts, the trombone, baritone, and bass part. So you just heard the bottom part of a band. Now you're going to get to hear the top part of a band. We have a beautiful flute choir that we're going to present to you. Ladies, you're here someplace. Where'd the flute choir go? You're out. Here they come. All right. And they're as attractive as they are good, too. These students have all worked with our flute teacher, Elaine Bergman, and they've gotten all kinds of superior ratings and all kinds of combinations. We're very, very proud of them. I think all of them have taken private lessons for an extended period of time. So you're going to decide for yourself. They're quite well accomplished. And they're going to play Simple Gifts. Very, very, very good quality. In case you're wondering what those two bigger instruments were, one was an alto flute, one was a bass flute, and they cover the whole range of the musical score. You can imagine how happy I was coming in here to find that ensemble buried in the band. They're really fantastic. Let's move on to something a little larger. Now, as they come onto the stage, this would be the East Central Symphony Band, made up primarily of freshmen and sophomores, few upperclassmen that couldn't get it in their schedule in the right place. But will be directed by our middle school director, Mr. Ryland Carter. And I've known Perry for a very long time, only to find out that when we got done with our district contest last Friday, he says, "Doc, that's the first time I've ever directed a high school band at a contest," which he promptly showed how good he really was, turned right around and got the students their gold or their superior rating at the district festival last Friday. So they're going to play, as listed in the program, the Alamo March, Into the Storm, and Battle Vaughan.
That was a circus march written by Carl King in 1943. And that's the reason that I and Maya play the whistle, because they are all based on circus marches. And I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, it's been a heck of a year. But band kids are resilient kids. And band kids do wonderful things no matter what. They can adapt because they have to do it on stage in a live setting. They have to be able to overcome any problems. And these guys have been fantastic. We've been really lucky with Russ and Dr. Friends, of course. Dr. Russ and Dr. Friends. And I have no doubt that this program will continue to grow and to thrive. These guys, I all started 2.5 million years ago, and look at them now, right? So with that in mind, thank you for your patience, and thank you for your support. And let's keep it going. It's something worth keeping going. Don't you agree? Now, speaking of storms, our next piece is written by Robert W. Smith, and it's called Into the Storm. And I had written him not long ago about getting a score for a piece of music that I had loaned out, and it disappeared. He lives in Florida, and a hurricane had wiped out his whole public library for music. So this piece is actually dedicated to the storm that happened in the 90s. They called it The Perfect Storm. They even made a movie about it. But this is a beautiful work.
Just bear with us. No magic, no curtain. We're just going to move this band out and bring another one in. You're gonna read off these letter names, and we'll tell those kids come. Okay. I think we've created a log jam here, a little snafu in directions. Okay, we'll fix it. Good thing it's not marching band. That's right. Well, it doesn't really matter. You'll notice right before your very eyes how we've magically changed them from white to black. Oops. Somebody dropped their watch. Yes.
Okay, now that that's over, for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Dr. Russell Kaitis. I've been lucky enough to come in and work with all of your students, and thank you very much for that opportunity. Thank you. As we go through our concert tonight, we're also going to honor a few students and some other community members as well. As you know, it takes quite a lot of effort on everybody's part to put on a show like this and like a program for the whole year. So thank you very much for all of your hard work. Up first, we're going to have our senior letters presentation. These students have shown an enormous amount of dedication to the program and to their own musical studies, and we would like to recognize all of our students. So when you hear your name, go ahead and stand up and meet Dr. Friends over on stage left for your letter. Up first, Brittany Bly. Jacob Sousa. TJ Daly. Cole Desarn. Jonathan Evans. Zach Francis. Carrie Hines. Austin Hoffman. Jared Hoffman. Alex Javoyan. Sabrina Javoyan. Carolyn Clare. Maya Caressel. Amanda McCann. Trevor McClamrock. Alex Nichols. Lita Pettigrew. Chase Rayla. Karen Robbins. Aiden Smock. Colton Trinidad. Carrie Warner. Dylan Adis Tillen. Didn't spell it right. Griffin Hahn. Nick Bennett. Alex Maxey. And Dominic Wentz. Seniors, again, thank you for your hard work and dedication to the program, and I hope you continue your musical studies.
Usual problem. While looking through the band room in all its various components and so on, I found several lockers with all kinds of things in them. Among those things, I found some awards from past years, different things that have been instituted and sort of fell by the wayside. So I took it upon myself to make sure that as many students as possible got recognized, and I've reinstituted some of these awards. We have 2 awards here that are very special. This is called the Leonard Bernstein Musicianship Award. And if you know anything about Leonard Bernstein, he was the conductor of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra for many, many years, a great composer, a great writer. He loved kids. And he really represents the epitome in absolute excellence. So I have 2 awards to give under that category. The Leonard Bernstein Award for Musical Excellence in recognition of superior musicianship, leadership, and dedication to the East Central High School Band, serving without reward or personal gain, given in recognition for these values and goals of the East Central High School Band, presented April 26, 2018. Outstanding musical excellence for Amanda McCann. And also for musical excellence, Maya Caressel. I know she's here someplace. Time out. You just received an award for musical excellence. And now the music. Our selection is the Mad Major, written by Kenny Alford in the British band style. After teaching 32 years as a high school band director and 25 years as a university director, I realized there's some things that young people just don't quite understand. And one of those things is the sensitive touch. And all that goes with that kind of a touch. So we picked a piece of music to try to teach that. Let's see if we've succeeded. Probably the most famous band award that's been given for decades and decades. This was started back in the late 40s and early 50s in the name of John Philip Sousa. It's usually given to the most outstanding person in various categories and so on, but you're only allowed to give one a year, and we, of course, have several outstanding students. Those are always really, really tough decisions to make. In recognition of outstanding achievement and interest in instrumental music, for singular merit in loyalty and cooperation, and for displaying those high qualities of conduct that school instrumental music requires, the John Philip Sousa Band Award is hereby presented to Mr. Jacob Sousa. When we went to festival or contest, whatever we call it in this area, last week, we played a piece of music. We'll finish our portion of the program, English Folk Song Suite by Ralph Vaughan Williams. Now, it has 3 movements to it, and 2 of them sound like marches. The other one sounds like a love song. It's a really good, a strong staple in American band literature, and any decent band worth their salt plays not only this, but a couple of suites by Gustav Holst, things that make bands sound like bands. When it was all over and I'm waiting for our ratings to show up, I noticed that the band behind us, from a school yet unnamed, the director came up to me and said, "I see that you played I'll Be 17 Come Sunday. That's one of the sections of this tune." And I said, "Yes." And I said, "I noticed you did too on the program." He said, "Well, how much of it did you play?" I said, "I played the whole thing, all 3 movements." And he said, "Boy, you're pretty brave." Well, I think these students have come up to the challenge. I've only been here for 10 weeks, and I did get to pick the contest music for concert band, and obviously they played it very well. Let's see what you think about that.
Okay, if everyone wants to stay seated for just a couple more minutes, we've got a couple of special announcements at the start of intermission. My name is Lisa Caressel, and I am president of East Central Band Boosters. If I haven't met you before, hello. And first off, we're going to make a few special presentations after the band gets situated. But in the meantime, I want to tell you a story. I want to first bring up Tom Stiver. He is the incoming president of East Central Band Boosters. And as you know, several of the East Central Marching Band and Guard, actually 100 kids on the nose, recently went to Washington, D.C. Just a couple weeks ago. And we had a wonderful trip. It was fantastic. It was amazing how many things that we got to see in Washington, D.C., in addition to marching in the National Cherry Blossom Festival Parade, which was quite an honor. So we are at the White House. Looked at the White House, we walk over to maybe go see another site, and we run into this statue. This statue faces the White House. The statue is up on a horse, reared up on the horse, and who is it? Andrew Jackson. So, what could we do but for our superintendent, Andrew Jackson, but to take a group photo in front of it and give it to him as a tribute to him supporting our band program, for coming to our concerts, tweeting about the band, etc. So, and as you know, the students did see the actual Declaration of Independence. So they actually put their John Hancocks on a photo of the group photo on the mat, and we would like to present it to Dr. Jackson tonight. So I know he doesn't like to come up on stage, but if you wouldn't mind coming up and receiving this. He's very good at recognizing others, but shies away from the spotlight himself. So thank you, Dr. Jackson. Hope you enjoy that. My other announcement is actually announcing the winner of our raffle. And we had originally sought to auction off a gator, and it like a John Deere Gator, 2018 model. It had, and we had an option of a cash prize, a $3,000 cash prize with two second prize winners of $500 each. So we worked and worked to sell tickets to try to get this gator, and because there's a little fine print on the ticket that says, if we don't sell enough, it's going to be split the pot. Actually have on my note cards, sorry we didn't sell enough tickets, it's going to have to be split the pot. Well, our treasurer just announced during the first half of this concert that we have raised enough to auction off or to raffle off a gator this evening. I'm actually still in shock. So thank you so much to our raffle sellers, anyone who bought a ticket, anyone who shared our posts, shared our emails, worked the Let's auction, etc. It is because of you that we're actually able to do this. So, all right. So we're going to take one maybe last final spin. So we're going to order 3 now. Okay, we're going to pick 3 names out of the drum. Because if the person who wins and gets the cash prize and they opt for the cash, then we have those 2 secondary $500 winners. All right, Tony, our booster secretary, is going to make the drawing. Okay, our winner is Jay Brusaw, ticket number 11. So Jay Brusaw, congratulations. Jay Brusaw is present at the concert. And Jay Brusaw, are you prepared to take the cash or take the gator? Take in the cash. So $3,000 goes to Jay Brusaw. All right, so we can announce our 2 $500 winners right now. Chuck Whistle, Ticket number 157. And this is just like Madonna. His name is Phil. And he's ticket 875. No last name, just Phil, but he does have a phone number on the ticket. So we will circle up with those winners after the concert tonight, but now please feel free to enjoy intermission, and thank you.
I think we're just about ready to go. The group sitting before you, we're calling the Lab Band this year. But before we begin, we have a couple of other presentations. We have a scholarship for a person going to university or college and going to study music. So we will make that presentation. And we also have some other presentations to do. So if we have to find Mrs. Munier. She's around here someplace. We need you to come forward. There we go. I will go get the stuff for the recipient.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say a few words. This scholarship was created, it was called the Jason J. Munier Scholarship. 4 or 5 years ago, Jason had passed away actually 4.5 years ago, and he was president of the Band Boosters at the time and had served 2 terms as Band Booster president. And our daughter was a senior in high school the year that he unfortunately passed. And with the Band Boosters, David Pilata, and then my staff at the University of Cincinnati cardiology, donations were made to create the scholarship. So for the past, now we're giving away our 5th scholarship this year. The first 2 recipients, actually, one is my daughter, Caroline, the other was Calvin Williams. Calvin will be graduating from Purdue University in just a couple weeks. I just saw his dad in the hall, and we communicated with him a few weeks ago. He's going to be graduating with a degree in wildlife biology, but continued it with music as his extracurricular activity at Purdue. Caroline will be graduating this coming next 2 weeks, same weekend as Calvin. She is graduating with a degree in chemistry from Indiana State University. She also continued her interest and passion in music as extracurricular in college. So this year, we are presenting the award to Emily Pettigrew.
Oh, here she is. Okay.
Good evenings. I'm Debbie France, and it's a pleasure to have all of you here. And it's been wonderful for Doc and I both to meet and be a part of this wonderful East Central band you have here. This is Lindsey Beckner and Alex Nichols, and they have a few words that they want to say to Dr. Friends.
As Mr. Ryland Carter said, we've had a pretty exciting year. And I don't think that anybody could have stepped in and handled this band with as much pomp as you have. You've guided us through a lot. I don't think we could have done it if it was anybody else. With your experience and your attitude, you made band seem like it was worth stuff, and that was amazing. So thank you, Doc.
Nope, did it.
Can we have Mr. Ryland Carter come forward? This is Mr. Ryland Carter. He's been with all of us since middle school. He's taught us all how to play. He's done so much with how many people have left, like, well, not left, but how many people we've gone through when he's been here. He's helped us through so much, and he stayed here through all of it. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I have a Dr. Russ Zakaitis? There he is. So this is Russ. He randomly appeared my sophomore year, and he has helped us out in more ways than you could ever imagine because he has a doctorate. He knows a lot. Like, he's been there. He's basically like an assistant band director, but I don't think he likes that title. Anyhow, thank you so much, Russ. This is how I can show my gratitude, I guess.
all right, next, can we have Debbie? Okay, so Debbie has helped the Guard in so many ways, and this entire band department in so many ways you can't even count how much.
Thank you. Well, I got a couple more things to say here, and could Edith Masterson come forward, please? And while she's making her way up here, I'm going to tell you a little story about Edith. On behalf of the East Central Band and Guard, we would like to express our gratitude to Mrs. Edith Masterson for the many years she has spent altering band uniforms and sewing costumes for the Guard. She has given her love, her time, her money, and her talent to keep this band looking great. So here she comes. She happens to be the grandmother of Ian Masterson. She said she would do anything for this band. Yes, she's amazing. And you know, it would not be right. I know that there are many other ladies who have stepped up, and some of them I don't know. But thanks to all of you, too. This particular lady, she is a professional seamstress, and it's absolutely amazing that she's still doing what she does. So we love her, and she loves you. Okay, one more thing here, and I'll set you free to some more magnificent music. This year, it was noted that the band would greatly benefit from a more dignified and unified presence when performing if we made some changes in guard wear. We began with the basic black jazz pants and unitards and added accessories depending on what venue they were performing. Today, we are presenting the final piece to this uniform, one to be worn with pride to represent the entire East Central High School. So here you go. Match your band. Thank you all so much, and on to some fabulous music.
Well, welcome to the last half of our concert. This is the first presentation of the East Central High School Lab Band. They're doing a great job, I might add. You might notice we don't really have a full complement of musicians. We needed a few more trombones, a few more trumpet players. And we're lucky enough to be joined by, it's a hard last name, I keep forgetting. Stravasa, almost, I think. I've known Om for a while. We did our doctorates together. He's now a professor at CCM, and he's been teaching a few of our saxophone students privately, and he's graciously agreed to come in and help out our band, and he's doing a wonderful job. And you heard a wonderful solo there in Kansas City by Lane Collins. This band is where we introduce students to jazz. It has a lot of the same idioms that we use in classical music, but there are some very basic differences, mostly in the concept of meter and where the backbeat is. So you notice that in Lab Band, we're playing 4 pieces of music in very distinct styles, and this is mostly to serve as a great introduction to our students. And they've also been working on a couple of scales and things, I think much to their dismay, but it makes me happy. So I've got to learn how to play our instruments. So it's been a pleasure, again, working with this band. And without further ado, we'll continue the concert.
hiding back there someplace. Come on out, you guys. You don't have to be afraid to play. It's okay. We have just a couple more awards that we'd like to give. This thing is definitely not designed for short people. This wasn't intended to be a comedy act, honest. There we go. Okay. We have a couple of extra things that we want to do, and let me pick them up, and we'll do that while the band's coming out. By the way, something that slipped through the cracks. Miss Edith Masterson, we have a certificate for you, too. So when it's over, we'll see that you get that. We have revived one of the awards that had been given here years ago from the same people who sponsor the John Philip Sousa Award and the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award. The Instrumentalist Company across the nation since about 1940 something or other have been the leaders and provide all these awards. They are awarded on a national scale. One of the things that they have, which the last time this was awarded here was 2005, was the Director's Award. And the Director's Award does not necessarily have to go to a senior, doesn't even have to go to a really outstanding player. Now, when those two match up, that's great. But sometimes it might be the guy who loads the truck, it might be the guy who stays after and makes sure that everybody has a ride. And mostly for a meritorious service. In the case of the folks that we're going to award this year, they also play extremely well, and that works out great. So here's what the certificate says. The Director's Award for Meritorious Service in recognition of extended service, musicianship, leadership, and dedication to the East Central High School Band, serving without reward or personal gain, given in recognition for the values and goals of the East Central High School Band. We have two recipients this year that we think are deserving of the Director's Award, Mr. Zach Miller and Miss Bridget Hancock. Bridget's still here someplace? Yes, here she comes. Can't see in the dark. I can't see in the light sometimes, too. One of the things that really impressed me when I first came here, those were the first two kids that came to me and says, Doc, I'll do whatever you need to have done. Let me know. And they both worked extremely hard, above and beyond the duty that would normally call for band membership. Also, we have another one of the most prestigious awards that can be given to a high school student, and it's applicable to jazz band. This has been given here for some time continuously. The Louis Armstrong Jazz Award, in recognition of outstanding achievements in the field of jazz as demonstrated through superior musicianship, character, and individual creativity. The Louis Armstrong Jazz Award is hereby presented to Mr. Zach Francis. And now, on with the music. We have quite a variety. I've tried real hard. These students have learned very rapidly when you consider I've only been here for about 10 weeks. They quickly jumped in, got used to my style of teaching, and I've tried to introduce them to several different styles of what we would consider jazz, and so you're going to get quite a variety here. The first thing written by Dominic Spera is called Blue Bones, and it features the trombone section. feature a really, really old standard. It's called Skylark, and it will feature Mr. Jake Shalusta on tenor saxophone. Mr. Jake Shalusta. I have two other awards I'd like to give. You can be in the jazz band without playing in the other bands, and that sometimes that they miss out on a few things. Most of the students belong to the regular band, the marching band, the contraband, and so on. But not every student has that opportunity, or they have other things they need to do, like play football or basketball or baseball or some other thing. But we like to recognize the students in the jazz ensemble that do achieve a high degree of success, and we have two such members that I want to recognize for outstanding participation in the East Central High School Band Organization, presented in recognition of extended participation and dedication to the musicianship in jazz performance. We'd like to recognize, please, Mr. Dominic Wintz, going to hear more from Dom in a few minutes. And Mr. Simon Williams, our expert on the keyboard. Now, I know we're starting to push on the time frame a little, and we have a few more tunes to play for you, but it really would be not right for me to thank everybody that has helped us through this difficult time. Not a one-man show. I just get to make decisions and take the blame when they go wrong. But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that help, and I, just want to mention, I certainly can't do this any longer without my wonderful wife, Debbie. She's right there. She helps do practically everything, or even things that nobody else wants to do. Debbie, thank you. And certainly, Russ and Perry, they've made my days go a little easier. They come to the fore just to help in every possible way. They teach an awful lot of good music, and I think not just myself, but the students are very appreciative of it. And certainly, the interim principal, Mr. Kim Simonson, has paved the way for us to enjoy doing what we're doing with as little upsetting things as possible. If Kim's here, I want to say thank you very much for what you do and how you help the band program. And certainly, as you've recognized before, Dr. Andrew Jackson, and I want to say this about Dr. Jackson. You know that I've gone through several decades of principals and superintendents and so on. You are so terribly fortunate to be able to have Dr. Jackson as your superintendent. He is probably the most caring superintendent that I've ever run into in my entire career, and he wants the band to succeed and is doing everything he possibly can to bring it up to standard. So thank you, Dr. Jackson. And of course, nobody does this independently. The band boosters here have just been a tremendous asset. I walked into the middle of a major trip, and Lisa Caressel and Jay McCurtis and Megan Wells and some of the other folks, I can't remember all their names, said, "Don't worry, Doc, we'll take care of it. We got it going." Boy, they did a masterful job in completing that trip, and we just had a great time. All the chaperones that went. I was about ready to start a chaperone band. That was quite a crew. Some of them claimed they couldn't march anymore, but I suspect maybe they just wanted to applaud their children. So I really appreciate all that you've done. The guys who have driven the truck, Mr. Stiverson and Mr. Sousa, some folks I probably don't even know, you've done everything that we've asked you to do. You've done it wonderfully. Certainly, you've done a great job. All of the parents have done a wonderful job with their kids. It's one of the politest, most sincere, respectful groups of kids I've ever run into, and they're really easy to teach, and I thank you for that. And of course, just a few moments of thanks for the entire East Central High School staff. Every place I go, everybody treats me with respect. They just, thank you, Dr. Friends, for doing this, that, and the other thing. They're really a professional team. You're very fortunate to do that. And certainly, not least, all the wonderful students. Thank you. Okay, I think it's time to move on. We got people standing behind me. This doesn't look good. All right, I'm going to tell you real quick then. The next tune is a Sammy Nestico tune. It's called Hay Burner. You'll figure out real quick why it's called Hay Burner.
Band boosters are like euphoniums. You can't tell when they're there, but you can tell when they're not there. So, our parents are Lisa Caressel and Jay McCurtis. That's our moms, and they're basically the top two, emperors of the band booster hierarchy.
President and vice president, and we're good friends, and they're good friends, and I just all the time they're always working so hard. Our moms will be on the phone with each other, and then I text mine and be like, "Oh my gosh, I just wish my mom would get off the phone and stop talking about DC."
And I'll say, "Me too."
Yeah, but seriously, they're just working so hard, and I don't know, I'm just really thankful for them. So you should come up and get your flowers, because we love you.
Why do you always do that?
We are sharing this bouquet with Megan Wells and Tony Scudder and all of the boosters who've worked so hard all year long to help make the band engine run. So thank you very much.
Now, let's see. We did have some soloists in there. Simon Williams on piano. Zach Francis on alto sax and Kerry Hines on trumpet. Now, one of the things I tried to do, because I know it needed to be done just in part of the repertoire, but they haven't done a whole lot of it, was teach the jazz band to play with a vocalist. And we just happen to have a couple of really good vocalists in the band. you happen to have a very good vocal program here in high school, but we happen to have two of them in the band, so we're going to share them with you. This is just a beautiful ballad, and I think every young lady thinks that at some time we're going to feature Maya Caressel, and she's going to sing When I Fall in Love. Wonderful singer, wonderful young lady. Thank you, Maya. All right. Years and years ago, I had the opportunity to play with the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and I was so proud when my son graduated from college. He ended up playing lead trumpet with the Glenn Miller Orchestra for about 5 years. One of the things that I got to do, I got an awful lot of Glenn Miller arrangements that the guys in the band had written over the years, and when they come through town, I get to play with them occasionally still, and actually, we're going to have them at Coney Island on August the 1st this year for a concert and a dance. Brass Factory Foundation sponsors that, and the Brass Factory Foundation has to date given away 17 college scholarships. So we're hoping to do that again. You want to hear some really great jazz band music? Come out to Coney Island on August the 1st. You'll hear more about that later. We're going to move on, though, to play one of their tunes. It's one of the more fun tunes. We have a ball doing it. This is called the Volga Boatmen, and it has 3 soloists, Keegan Clark, Brody Taylor, and Dallas Clark. So here's Glenn Miller's Volga Boatmen. the Volga Boatmen's a fun tune to play. A little extra high trumpet work there from Kerry and Keegan. That all works out. Great trombone section. Thank you, Russ. That works out real well. Okay, I told you we're going to hear from Dominic, and Dominic is going to do his best Frank Sinatra imitation. There is little bass trombone and Barry sax work. They don't get a whole lot of attention in a band, but you'll hear them. They're going to do Witchcraft.
Those fingers in my hair, that's like I'm here to stare, that strips my conscience bare, it's witchcraft. And I've got no defense for it, the heat is too intense for it, what good would common sense for it do? 'Cause it's witchcraft, wicked witchcraft, and although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me, proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient pitch, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. Cause it's witchcraft, that wicked witchcraft, and although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me, proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient pitch, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. Witchcraft, witchcraft.
And for our closing number, I think that's, what do you have? Yes, that's it, our closing number. This seems to be the band's favorite. You'll be able to tell why very quickly. We have a ton of soloists in here. Hope I don't miss anybody. Zach and Kerry and Alex and Zach and another solo by Kerry and Dominic. Everybody gets into the act here. If you haven't heard them solo, you probably will here. We just had a great time playing this tune. As a matter of fact, I sort of had to hold them back because that's all they wanted to do. It's a really, really fun tune, and it's called Brass Roots. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. Be safe going home, and we'll see you again next year. Good night.